Welcome back. Let's check for understanding. What is the connection between Cesar Chavez and human rights reform workers? Did you say he fought for human rights for the farm workers in California who performed back-breaking work for very little pay? He also fought for better health care for the workers. Let's discuss the read aloud. What happened to Caesar's family after the drought devastated their ranch? The Chavez family lost their ranch, so they went to California and became migrant workers. Where was Cesar Chavez born? Cesar Chavez was born in the Gila River Valley near Yuma, Arizona. What was life as a migrant worker easy or hard for Caesar and his family, and why? Yes, life was very hard. They had to move from place to place, and they earned very little money. Why did Cesar Chavez decide to fight for the cause of migrant workers? Did you say he felt migrant workers deserve better treatment? If so, you are correct. In what way was Caesar's fight for human rights based on what Martin Luther King Jr. did for the fight for civil rights? Yes, he organized a peaceful protest, march, and strike because he believed in Martin Luther King Jr.'s view that the fight should be nonviolent. And how did the grape growers feel about the strike and the march? They were upset because the grapes were withering, so they agreed to increase the amount of money they paid to the migrant workers and they gave them health care. Great job for paying attention. Caesar, like many of the other activists you heard about, thought it was important for people to vote for the people who would represent them in the government. Why do you think they thought the right to vote was so important? Right. What word are we going to talk about? In the read aloud, you heard many people refused to buy California grapes in sympathy for the plight of the workers. Say the word plight with me. A plight is a very difficult or bad situation. Eleanor Roosevelt was saddened to see the plight of all the people without jobs during the Great Depression. How would you describe the plight of the migrant workers you heard about in today's read aloud? Try to use the word plight when you tell about it. If you're having trouble, you can say the plight of the migrant workers was, and then you tell how was the plight, how was their difficult situation. So, what's the word we've been talking about? Plight is correct. Yes, plight does have the IGH in there, three letter I. So, remember, a plight is a very difficult or bad situation. I will describe a situation if what I describe is an example of a plight or a difficult or sad situation, say, that's a plight. If what I describe is not an example of a difficult or sad situation, say, that's not a plight. Ready? When victims of an earthquake need to rebuild their damaged homes, that's that is a plight. When a family takes a walk together in a park, that is not a plight. When a team wins a sports tournament, that is not a plight. When birds lose their habitat or homes because of the forest fire, that is a plight. All right, let's connect with the video our writing. So remember our timeline and the individuals we've spoken about? Now you're going to describe the cause for which Cesar Chavez fought. Cesar Chavez lived at approximately the same time as Martin Luther King Jr., but he was helping people at a slightly later time than Martin Luther King Jr. So where do you think his card should go on the timeline? Correct. He should go right next to Martin Luther King Jr. Writing a free verse poem. What type of poetry did you write in your previous lesson? Free verse. Which parts of a free verse poem can relate or tell the poet's opinion? The words, phrases, and the rhythm. So you're going to write a free verse poem in which you express an opinion about Cesar Chavez's achievements. Remember, we discussed the four-step process involved in writing the free verse poem in the last lessons. You should work to brainstorm ideas about the read aloud or from the read aloud. You'll write a main idea or details well with ideas that you would like to include in your free verse poem. So in the center you have Cesar Chavez's name, and then you have your ideas around it. You'll write a free verse poem in which you express your opinion about the person's accomplishments. And then if we have time, you can share your poem with your classmates. Okay, you're going to use this bubble to use as your notes to write your poem. And you're going to write Cesar Chavez's name on this sheet. Okay, I'm going to clear that. Make sure you capitalize his name. And a capital C for his last name. And then you continue writing about Cesar Chavez's accomplishments. After you're finished, you may read quietly and get epic and take a AR quiz. Remember, tomorrow is the last day, March 15th, to make your goal. You also need to have your average number correct, above 85%, or at 85% or above, or you can work in already reading. That is the end of this lesson.